Why is nobody talking about this? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have a ton of development and updates we have to talk about. Some of the stuff that we are about to cover, some of the events that took place recently, will literally have you jacked up for the coming weeks. Before we get to it, drop a like on the video as it will help spread this vital information to others. Consider sharing the video to your friends if you can. That being said, let's get down to it. The Options Clearing Corp, otherwise known as the OCC, has recently been testing stress levels in some of their members. These members include Citadel and Robinhood among some others, but these are the ones I want to talk since they seem to be the most well-known in our community. These stress levels are done to test the likelihood of payment default. These results of these tests must have been so absolutely atrocious to say the least. The OCC has now announced that they will be temporarily increasing the clearing fund over $588 million. The reason this is done is because the OCC is quite literally preparing for the absolute chaos that will erupt once hedge funds are no longer able to delay the squeeze and are forced to start buying back every single share they own or printed. As we talked yesterday, those naked shares will be bought and cancelled, and this will send the stock parabolic. To bring it back and put two and two together, the OCC just literally said that upon testing the stress levels that hedge funds as well as the infamous and notorious Robinhood company, the results were so pessimal that they had to raise the clearing fund size. The chips are being laid down, and things are starting to get really hairy. And this is where I need you to stop and listen to me. We have seen both AMC and GME run for the last couple of days, and just yesterday we received news that Citadel themselves bought a batch of shares of AMC. This was not done for the reasons you think. Citadel makes money through options. They are quite stuck with the naked shares due to the abysmal sell volume from the retail side. A lot of people have hypothesized that what they did was buy AMC to move the price up a bit to then sell it. Then they would place a ton of put options to drive the price down vertically, scaring many new investors into panic selling and activating sell limit orders. Though this is a very plausible scenario, I do not think it's the only reason they did this. I honestly think hedge funds are low-key participating in the buy volume, and much more than some of us might realize. They might not be doing it directly though AMC or GME as well. I think they are also buying a ton of ETFs in order to drive to place themselves in a profitable position when we rocket upwards. I think their plan is to activate a huge sell order that will confuse and trigger many people to quickly sell off before actually covering. Let's say they allow the price for AMC to start squeezing, and we reach a price of like $100 per share. They then quickly activate a massive sell order that will not let it keep climbing in order to make traders quickly take profits. This is why it's important that you do not sell upon surges in price. There is in my opinion over 1.5 billion naked shares of AMC alone. The $100 price is a criminal price to sell because if this is the case, the stock will rocket well past into the thousands of dollars, which is why you cannot sell underneath 1,000. I know I ain't doing so at least. The squeeze isn't going to be a one-day thing. Remember, hedge funds are likely to default. I mean, even the OCC quite literally just agreed to that. The SROCC 2021-004 quite literally enters a date of effectiveness on May 21st, though if delayed, it will be postponed to some time between June and August. The whole purpose of this proposal is to lay out the groundwork of how market participants can collapse or fall. There is a plan for everything in the stock market, and this proposal acts as one if not the most vital piece in confirming the mother of all squeezes. What it does is it makes it a lot easier for both members and non-members to qualify for the bidding process that will take place when the assets and securities of the defaulting members, in this case hedge funds, are sold off. The way this works is, a hedge fund defaults, so the clearinghouse comes and does exactly what they do, they clear up. However, there will be a ton of assets, some of the hedge funds are pretty vast, and there will need to be enough members and non-members in the auction in order to secure or guarantee that everything is sold off. These sell-offs will raise the funds needed to start paying back and buying all the naked shares that you apes will be selling at the top. Due to the pervasive nature of the situation, with such ridiculous number of naked shares having been printed and sold, you can expect the price to be monumental or even historical. These assets will be purchased cash. Some of the members of the OCC are Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan among many others. You know what the funny thing is? A couple weeks ago Bank of America and JP Morgan made headlines after a historical bond sale in the billions of dollars. Bonds, for those unaware, are securities issued by corporations and the government to raise quick capital. Now why do you think all these banks all simultaneously decided to raise record levels of cash all of a sudden? Because they know and placed their bets on the same winning piece that you did. On AMC and GameStop. So what now? First of all, which isn't even a first, if you are in Robinhood, you do stand to risk not being able to sell during the squeeze, at least not whenever you find suitable. We have seen time and time again that they have very serious liquidity issues and halt the ability for people to trade certain volatile stocks. If you trade on Robinhood, you are just a fool as a man whipping his you-know-what with a million lottery ticket. I personally use TD Ameritrade as my primary broker for trading. I too use WeBull as it's like Robinhood without the pervasive and continuous pattern of preventing people to sell high. I recommend you, if you are still on Robinhood, to switch soon because trading on Robinhood is akin to gambling at Vegas. I have a link for WeBull down in the description if you want to open an account with them. There are tons and tons of good brokers, Fidelity, Charles Schwab, TD Ameritrade, Interactive Brokers and many others. Do your research and switch out of the Robing the Hood app once and for all. Funny enough, there is no moment or missed opportunity for the press to step up and start spreading fear like when AMC is in like their 8th day in a row of climbing and closing at a higher price than the previous day. Market Watch and the Motley Fool were not shy to step up today, with catchy and clickbait headlines insinuating to investors that it's time to sell, all based on poor takes on the fundamental business data for the company. It is quite a cringe to read through these articles. I bring this up because as we head closer and closer to the squeeze, I think it obvious to think that attempts to create confusion and fear will rise up. We have seen a continuous growth in our community over the past couple of weeks, where bots are implemented to spread lies and fear and controversy on comment sections related to AMC or GME topics. This is no coincidence. This is a blatant and literally attempt to get you to sell under pressure at a mere small price surge. Block and report these bots if you see them, and fight back by commenting and taking a more proactive stance. Remember, it is no longer optimal to simply sit back after reading or watching a good video. Place a like, comment below and share that content. If we are to win, we need to face against these bots by not allowing them to take over the conversations in the comment sections. Fight back and be a proud and active member of your community. I mean, look at some of the things that are happening in South Korea. People are taking up putting signs on bridges and their own windows to spread the message. All you have to do is do your part online. Last thing I want to discuss is a batch of good news that I think some of you may have seen, but I still want to talk about it. Short sellers of AMC and GameStop were hit incredibly hard in the last 5 trading days. Ortex data suggests that nearly $930 million, almost $1 billion, were lost with this tiny little rise in price. Can you imagine the loss that will be netted once we actually do launch up on a squeeze? Remember, the price is likely to be attacked heavily before the implementation of the SR004, so as you see your recent gains fade away back into red, I want you to panic. And as you panic, I want you to hit the buy button. Everyone should be taking opportunity to panic buy now as the price dips again because this might as well be quite literally your last opportunity to buy cheap. Like I said, SR004 can be delayed, but if it's not, things can get out of control quite quickly. And that is not me saying it, that is the OCC literally testing the data and coming up with that conclusion. AMC dark pool volume is estimated to have made close to 50% of all the trading today, which is why we didn't necessarily rocket upwards. We mostly traded sideways today, making a ton of consolidation around 14 and 14.20. Though we began pre-market extremely bullish, hedge funds took to ladder attack the stock into 14, with hopes to dip it below to $13 tomorrow. The fact that we maintained such a high position all day indicates to me that the stock is incredibly strong, and even with this mini surge, people are buying and holding. Strongest support line is at $14, though you can also expect more support at 14.60. We did consolidate on the BWAP for most of the day, which I think will have us moving upwards in the after hours and pre-market tomorrow, though I think we will experience a similar attack like we experienced today. We closed at 14.03, which is extremely bullish, marking the 8th day in a row where AMC finishes above the previous closing price. Tomorrow pre-market we should be trading around 13.95 and 14.15 with a bigger likelihood of trading higher if resistance is broken. GameStop had the same exact dark pool trading volume, at 49.9%. It began pre-market similar to AMC, slowly decreasing. Upon market opening the stock became very volatile, with naked shares being quickly bought, eventually leaving the stock to move up and consolidate above the BWAP, which was incredibly bullish. At around 1 p.m., GameStop starting moving up again, climbing to 189.20. The last hour of trading was a textbook example of a short ladder attack, closing at 180.67, which was very close to the VWAP. I think tomorrow pre-market we should be trading around 179 and 184. I think GameStop will trade sideways pre-market for the most part. Best time to buy still remains to be around 11 p.m. and 1 p.m. Thank you for your continued support. Please consider pledging support to my Patreon. Let me know in the comments section if you plan on buying more AMC or GME shares on this dip. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. I look forward to reading your comments and I will see you tomorrow.